the Confluence day trading strategy tutorial. It's not a long video because it's very simple. We're going to be doing a lot more of these training videos and live sessions for our Confluence trading bundle users. So we have a number of indicators that we use on different charts. I'm going to go through an example in a minute, but basically let's go from the top to the bottom. Expert roller coaster is our entry strategy. It's our starting point, if you like. Then the expert algo is our Confluence confirmation. That is an algorithm that grades trades. So for a 6-star buy, for example, there's 12 out of 12 Confluences all going in the same direction. The VWAP predator is our momentum confirmation. And then that bias depth heat map is the bias confirmation, and that final confirmation that now all the stars are aligned. And then the expert manager is for consistent trade management. So this is the chart setup. We're going to start at the bottom right. This is on gold futures. So the bottom right, it's on a 15-minute Heikin-Ashi. So we always have the roller coaster on the Heikin-Ashi. These time frames can change, and part of our Discord community for our Confluence bundle is that we use our AI to give you those combinations to help you. So we have that roller coaster bottom right at the moment. It's on the 15-minute Heikin-Ashi. On the top right is our expert algo. You can see those 5-star buys and 6-star buys there. Top left on the 5-minute flat, no Heikin-Ashi here, is the VWAP predator. And then the bias depth heat map is at that bottom left on the 5-minute. We go back to that bottom right. The manager's also on there with these dots and these coloured candles. We're going to go through why we use the manager in a little while. Again, this is only a very short video. So the day trading Confluence strategy rules. So the roller coaster is the first signal. It's our anchor strategy. And then the roller coaster start line, and we're going to have a look at the chart in a minute, must be crossed within the timeout rules. And we're going to look at those below in a minute. Then the expert algo has to occur, and that comes after the roller coaster, and that must appear after the roller coaster signal and within the timeout rules again. The VWAP predator rules, so the VWAP predator can occur before the roller coaster and the expert algo, but it must show a score of 5 out of 6 or 6 out of 6 on the bias depth heat map. So if you do get that early on, and then the bias depth heat map score drops below to 4 out of 6 or lower, that VWAP signal is cancelled and you've got to wait for another one. A lot of Confluence trading is all about getting everything, all the rules met, but also it's about patience. The new VWAP signal must occur within the timeout rules for Confluence. So those timeout rules. So this all depends on that initial time frame that you've got that anchor strategy on the roller coaster. And the roller coaster signal starts the timeout clock. Okay, so when that candle closes and you get a roller coaster signal, that's the start of your timeout clock. The timeout duration, again, depends on that roller coaster time frame. So between 5 and 12 minutes, the timeout is 90 minutes. Between 13 and 20 minutes, the timeout is 120 minutes. And then 21 plus minutes, the timeout is 180 minutes. So let's go back to that chart slightly. So when we're back testing this, I like to draw vertical lines on my charts. I always start with a green dotted line for the roller coaster signal. For a long. If it's a short, I would just put a red dotted line in there. This helps me understand the groove and how things are working and everything else. So then we get the purple line, the hashed line, vertical line. I draw that in. We get a 5-star buy, so we're only looking at 5 or 6-star buys in or sells. So that comes in there, and then we can see that on. All I do is I just sync on all the charts on TradingView, and then I can see that on all of those charts. And then the final piece of the puzzle really is the VWAP predator buy signal at this point here. We'll zoom in on the cross point here for the roller coaster in a little while because it's on the same candle as the expert algo. And as you can see down here, this is my bias depth heat map. When I get that last signal, the VWAP predator, that is all green there, so that's good to go. So what I want to do is zoom in. So you've seen all of those different signals come in for confluence on gold here on those different strategies. I want to zoom in now on this bottom right anchor chart. So this is the chart zoomed in. I want to go through that, the timing of everything. So first of all, we get that X-Brad algo, and that's 11 a.m. Then we get the roller coaster. Then we get the X-Brad algo here, but also we can see the candle crosses this start line. So when we print the roller coaster, we have a green start line that must be crossed. Even though the candle closes back below there, it's crossed, it's active. Okay. Then the final piece of that puzzle is that VWAP predator at this point here. The white hash line is actually our start, and I know it's a little later than this, but we need that momentum confirmation from the VWAP predator. So next we have the bias depth heat map, and I'm just going to take a little bit of a screenshot from the bias depth heat map chart here to show that all 6 time frames are green, but more importantly the timeout rules have been met. So that first signal for that roller coaster here, for that buy signal, was at 11 a.m. The VWAP predator signal came in at 12 p.m, just 1 hour later. Okay, so we'll just do a market order and we go long, and we put our stop loss at this point here. Now the conservative management is when this roller coaster trailing stop starts to print, is we adjust our stop loss at this point here. Once we get to this point, we're risk free. Now a more aggressive trade management strategy is we use the manager. Now I just want to explain, the dots above are higher than average volume. The dots below are lower than average volume. Now we can see this pullback here has lower than average volume until we get a doji with its total indecision with higher than average volume. Okay, at this point we're really close to that trailing stop anyway, but then we have a massive move up here, higher than average volume, but it rejects more than 50% on the candle to the close. This is important. If it rejects and sort of retraces more than 50% there, we flatten the trade at that point. That is the more aggressive exit, but it gives you an extra 10, 12 ticks in this case, which is, it's quite a lot. So that's how we introduced that manager there to look for those big rejections and get out more aggressively compared to these stop loss adjusts at this point. So that was a very, very simple. Watch it again. Those are the rules. That's how the chart setup is for the Confluence trading strategy for day trading. Check out the links below if you haven't got the day trading Confluence bundle to get all of this software and get started.